Final chapter. Chapter 10. Let's do it right this time. Thank you all of my readers, followers, and supporters, lovers, mothers, dreamers, spiritual and creative people. Inspiration will always be there when the time is right. A sample of my active group, Hypnosis and Philosophical Influences. Admin, October 1, 2018. Bradenton. If I had to describe my dream this week, I would say that for once they were eye-opener of some old attached memory that I need to put to rest. Sometimes it's good to do an over-analysis of what really has been the most painful moment in your life, so you can have a clear mental picture of what really happened and how it has affected you. A good exercise is to draw a comic mini-story of 4 major traumatic events in your life and just contemplate it, think and recall moments. I know for some it can be painful, but in order to face prevention of further suffering, you do have to face it to heal. In my case, it's very hard to resume in 4 stories. I will say I have at least 8 major traumatic events, but one thing I realized is that 6 of them happened within the same time frame and location, and these other 2 were prior to it. Everything in life can escalate from one incident to another. I didn't have enough clue and time to read them, to heal the challenges. I wanted so bad to catch a break during my roller coaster life, but I was listening to all the donors and negative people around me during a stressful period, and all I could do is do more to prove everyone wrong, but it was never enough. I drained myself in exhaustion, trying to catch up, to do more every day, to explain, to be understood, to get the credit that I deserve, to be heard, but I couldn't keep up anymore. My mind was so tired and burned. Now being on this other side, have done my homework, my healing, and share my journey, I feel a little better. This is why hypnosis and philosophical issue matter so much to me, because I am more than a traumatic episode on this planet. My life isn't 6 years in a lifetime. My up and glory moment outwin this little difficult time. And no matter how disgusting the world and people can be, I am here to live the life I was always granted to have. I'll make my own destiny and design my success definition. My advice, keep your head high and chase away sociopath, anti-empathic, cruel and sick-minded humans. They don't matter because to me, all they do is create chaos and pain to the world and commit horrible crime. A new story, titled Don't Be Late Again. This is a story of my teen years in my village, Thoiry, France. Extra reading, just for fun. I called it a new story titled Don't Be Late Again. It's 8 a.m. Wake up, buzz, buzz. This alarm keeps ringing to my ear while I pleasant dream of sitting in a bus on my way to class. But this time the noise was beginning to echo loudly through my temples, and I couldn't get out of my seat. I was stuck like glue on wood. So I tried to speak, but the sound was shattered. I was frozen, and suddenly a large white light got into my eyes and disrupted my dream instantly. When I opened my eyes, I saw my tiny roof window light blinding my vision and heard, "Get up." Oh my god! I have exactly 5 minutes to get my clothes on, to run down the stairs, if not jumping through her bamboo steps, jog to the bus, stop and hope to make it on time. But unfortunately, I did not. Turn out this day is a very important test, and I have an essay presentation I cannot miss. So I ran back for a mile, carrying my miserable loaded backpack, and start knocking on our neighbors' doors for a ride to the train station. And I find the village doctor who was so sweet enough to get me there. I remember him being so fast, trying to do 15 miles in a short amount of time. Because with a slow route in suburban rural train station, once you miss your train, you basically destroy the rest of your schedule. Here is how my route went. Take the bus to the station, take the train to your first stop, walked to this other end, around 10 minutes to catch up your other train, and finally take the bus to my technical college. This was probably the most complicated way I ever had for 2 years. I did that. And And usually after school, I would head straight to my swimming lessons or dance class and get home by 8 p.m. Eat around that, chat with friends, watch TV, and sleep. Most of my homework I'll do in buses. To be continued. Time was no urgency in happy days sometimes. We will always find a way to entertain ourselves, either in our popular zoo, by hiding in our gigantic webs, ride our scooters to the cornfield, smoke in a wood, party in our backyard, watch people play tennis, walk to the store through dirt road, or simply shot pool at a friend's house, or baby foot in tiny bars. I never knew store open later than a month, or had to break my brain to decide where to shop, where to eat. It was simple. One thing of each. Knowing everyone was great. If I got bored, I'll knock at doors and strike a conversation. I miss living in a village, but I have a feeling that I won't live in big cities forever. A new story. This ugly, despicable soul. I will use a different name and change the location because I wouldn't want to be shot by anyone. It's 2014. I ride the Greyhound once again from NV to FL, Nevada to Florida. And while waiting, met a friend who sat in a wheelchair at Vegas Greyhound station demanding money to eat. He had a blind eye and 2 missing legs. He looks like he just came from a Vietnam War. I slept at the station and he was basically this only decent person at the time to talk to. I do too, a fat lady who was eating cupcakes, like a chubby, but I only mentioned it because it reflects her personality. We talked almost the whole way, and when I got to Miami, the person picking me up told me to wait for 7 hours by the parking lot. And this is a pretend friend who insisted for me to make the detour to him instead of me going straight to Bradenton. He wanted me to stay a month or so and helped me to find a job and a place. Let me back up a little. In this Orlando stop, my bus ticket was stolen during a quick transfer. It was 11 p.m. and they were closing at midnight. While I'm searching for my months on my birthday, I was turning 34. That exact day, a crazy woman came, screaming and cursing at me, saying I stole her water bottle. I bet it was a technique for distraction. I go to this Latino wheelchair guy and he smiles. I'm stunned. He then proceeded by saying I had wrinkles and grey hair and got on a bus like we never meet. I had to charm the bus driver and beg and hope to get in. I was fearing to have to sleep on the sidewalk with all those creeps around. I get in line, my kid in his stroller, and kept laughing when a few minutes later the bus driver comes to find me, treat me like a queen, evict the woman out of the bus for bad behavior, and I was saved. Hooray! So here I am, waiting by a 7-Eleven with Gringo who tells me all about his mafia days and how he lost his leg. Not what I picture. He left a criminal life for a long time and drink until he passed out. And one day he crosses the road, belligerent, drunk, and that's the story. He goes in a store, uses his handicap to smuggle a few beers, cans, and food. And the worst part is that he went back twice and didn't get caught. Unbelievable. I'm going to call it ugly. Finally, picked me up and drove me to his apartment. I gave him some gift and money for his gas because he was complaining already. I think he managed to be nice for 30 minutes, and then he totally turned into a total douche predator with cruel intentions. He looks at me with disgust and told me to sleep on the tile floor. I had no sleep in 3 days, waited 7 hours out, and all he wanted to do is diminish me for anything I had to say. But I was very threatened and couldn't move. I got my son close and sleep and didn't open my mouth in until morning and got the other bus ticket for Bradenton right away. He told me he killed before, and if said anything about him, I'll be dead. That was a purely planned abusive action, waiting for someone at his age to attack while I'm defenseless and too tired to fight back. He's someone I gave a break, I listened to, and treated with respect when knew of having one did 10 years prior. And now that I wasn't at my best, instead of turning the favor, he destroyed me and kicked me down. That's when I started to realize that not everyone deserves respect. Contrary to what I always believed then. Live and learn. It's time to refresh with some delightful optimism. A new story of the day. My life, top moment. BC, Canada, 48 hours RT. Montrénier, 4 days camping trip and interview to Horizon Air and Alaska Air. Fort Lauderdale, wild limo ride down to Boca Raton and Miami, Grand Canyon helicopter flight, Hollywood Studio, Multnomah Falls excursion, Arizona, 4 days desert trip, Switzerland ski vacations, Tunisia 3 weeks tour, invited to United Airlines 5 weeks training at Phoenix, AZ, audition to America Next Top Model, American Dad, being an extra in a movie where I grew up, won first place in a writing essay, presentation over, dated disaster drug dealer, unreachable guy, dinner in a most expensive restaurant and resort stay, highest hilltop restaurant in Virgin Island, St. Thomas with a very sexy, hot filmmaker, light sound expert, ride the whole island of St. Thomas on a Harley Davidson. Being on a Canadian radio, talking with Dave Scott, UFO researcher, get my son's picture in a family newspaper, and on a local Las Vegas TV channel. 3 years in a row, sending my poetry and book manuscript for review, being interviewed on twice, started my Art Union Project page, traveled to Las Vegas, get up on a Space Needle, travel to Guatemala and live and work like Habitat. Spend this evening with a stark reality from the show of Fisherman in Alaska. Read my poem by 300 people at my sister's wedding. Being selected over 4,000 candidates at La Croix-Rouge School. Main role in Macbeth play during a school recital and received tons of great feedback. Meet Hulk Hogan at concert of Lenny Kravitz. Received my first camcorder at 17 and made a small report on local in St. Thomas Island, the biggest party of my village at my place. My treasure finding with a metal detector on St. Thomas beaches with my father, family Christmas in Paris with her grandmother. Being an audience of American Idol in Vegas, my mother's family picnic at lakes, beaches, how many fun road, trip and attraction parks memory. Plus publish my books 5 in 2 months, plus expose my art in city walls, plus be in a newspaper, YouTube interview, plus seen the 2017 solar eclipse, plus survive this Irma 2017 hurricane. A new story titled A Nightmare, an Exploitative Experience, Fun and Sorrows. It's the year 2006. It's time for me to move back to South France. I spent 3 months on French rental sites to find an apartment ahead, and it was a complete waste of my time and money. I can't stand dishonest people, and I can't stand scammers. And to be honest with all of you readers, I was a kleptoman since age 11 until 2 years ago. I never thought I'd be cured one day. Neither I knew why I was this way. But I never stole from people. It was mostly retail store, usually closed. When I was younger, I remember being proud and getting popular and making tons of gifts to classmates and friends. When I got caught 2 years ago for a $10 hair vitamin bottle and paid $1,000 plus 60 hours of CS and all the court visit for 6 months, I realized it needed to end. I was lucky I didn't get arrested. But $10 cost me a lot of heartaches. I arrived at a friend's house who had 2 young children and a fiancé. I stayed 5 days before they had to leave, and I had to leave at the same time. So after the landlord came to her house for a visit, she concluded that he was a great man, very unaware of predator. And funny is, my girlfriend was even worse than me at judging characters. I wanted to ski again, so I booked a very cheap week near the Spain border, and my girlfriend Alex, and later on my ex and friends, came by and visited the giant spas and even ski one day. It was wild to try to ski after 8 years. But after a few practice, I was getting lost a lot in downtown. There were so much tourism, and that's where everyone gets their alcohol and tobacco provision. $1.50
per pack or $15 a carton.
Drink for